My wife said she was staying with her grieving mom, but an emergency crash alert from her phone led me to a hotel 3 cities away, where I watched her walk out with her lover and smile like nothing was wrong. The emergency alert came through at 2:47 a.m. while I was watching Netflix alone in our living room. Car accident detected. Emergency services contacted. Location, Hampton Inn, 2247 Harbor Drive, Millfield. I stared at my phone screen in confusion because my wife Rachel was supposed to be sleeping at her mother's house 40 minutes away, not at some hotel 3 cities over. I called her immediately. No answer. Called again. Straight to voicemail. Rachel had been making these overnight trips to her mom's house every few weeks for the past 6 months. Mom's been really depressed since Dad died, she'd explain. She needs the company, and I hate leaving her alone all night. It seemed reasonable. Sweet, even. Her father had passed away 8 months ago, and her mother lived alone in the house where Rachel grew up. But now her phone was pinging from a hotel parking lot at 3 a.m., and she wasn't answering my calls. I drove to her mother's house first, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Maybe she'd forgotten her phone in the car. Maybe she'd lent it to someone. Maybe there was some logical explanation that didn't involve my wife lying to me about where she was spending the night. Her mother answered the door in her bathrobe, looking confused and worried. "Is Rachel okay?" she asked immediately. "Why are you here so late?" "She's supposed to be staying with you tonight." The look on her face told me everything I needed to know. "She hasn't been here in weeks, David. Not since the funeral." My stomach dropped. "She told me she's been staying over to keep you company. Every few weeks." "I would love that, but no. She calls sometimes, but she hasn't stayed overnight since right after your father-in-law died." I showed her the emergency alert on my phone. We both stared at the Hampton Inn address like it was written in a foreign language. "Maybe she's having car trouble and stopped for the night?" her mother suggested weakly. But we both knew that wasn't it. People don't lie about where they're going when they're just having car trouble. I drove to Millfield like a man possessed, calling Rachel's phone every few minutes. Still nothing. The Hampton Inn was exactly where the GPS said it would be, a mid-range business hotel with a parking garage and a lobby that probably looked the same as every other Hampton Inn in America. Rachel's silver Honda was parked on the 3rd level of the garage. No accident damage. No signs of distress. Just her car sitting there like she'd parked it intentionally and walked inside. I stood next to her car for 10 minutes trying to make sense of this. My wife of 7 years had been lying to me about staying with her grieving mother while actually spending nights at hotels. The woman who lectured me about communication and honesty in marriage was conducting some kind of secret life that involved overnight stays in strange cities. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. "Phone died earlier. Sorry if you worried. Staying at mom's tonight. Love you." She was still lying. Standing in the hotel parking garage looking at her car, I was getting a text about how her phone had died and she was at her mother's house. The audacity was breathtaking. I went to the front desk and asked if Rachel Henderson was registered. The clerk couldn't give me information about guests, but he confirmed that someone had checked in earlier that evening. I showed him my ID with our shared last name and spun some story about a family emergency. "She's in room 412, he said reluctantly. "But I really shouldn't be telling you this." I took the elevator to the 4th floor with my heart hammering against my ribs. Part of me still hoped there was some innocent explanation. Maybe she was here with a friend who was having a crisis. Maybe she was planning some kind of surprise for me. Maybe there was a reason she needed to lie about where she was that didn't involve betraying our marriage. But when I got to room 412 and pressed my ear to the door, I heard voices. Rachel's laugh, high and flirty. A man's voice, low and intimate. The sound of a bed creaking.